Hello, and thank you for contacting Wave. I see from your request you're concerned about the potential need to refit this patient's lenses based on the topography that you've obtained this year. So if we look at this design, looking at your right eye, if we look at the topography first, there are some areas of red ridges here temporarily on the cornea. And again, I guess general thought is that the patient is wearing the lenses successfully and you're not causing any physiological compromise, there may not really be a great need to refit this lens. Keeping in mind that we do a lot of molding of the cornea with ortho-K and spherical lens and very toric corneas, so it's not uncommon to get a little molding effect on these corneas. So if you're not causing any physiological harm, then there may not be a need to rush out and change that, fit that lens or refit it. But if you are going to refit it, there's a couple things you can do. If we look at your design, I actually pulled up, this is your design. I went over to the fluorescein view. You'll see I have a generous landing zone here, and the problem area tends to be more on this temporal side here. So ideally, if we go back here to the quad view, and we notice if we go back to the back surface of the lens, if we get over here on this temporal area, you'll see we got a little bit of a bump up here in this back surface of the lens. That contour there is probably what's lending itself to a little bit of extra irregular molding on the cornea. So idea would be to sort of gently smooth that out a little bit more. A very quick and easy way to do that would be to, I pulled up a design here using the classic Wave 8-point step for fitting a mini-scleral lens. And I'll include that link in case you don't have it readily available. If you recall, basically you set your, let me bring our quad view back up here. You basically set your OZ and ICs on the back here. You set your pink dot about 0.4 or so inside the corneal diameter. And I just is sort of a guesstimate right there on that one. You set your central clearance anywhere from, in your case, sounds like you want a little more clearance. So on this one, I went up around closer to 15 by clicking down in the blue. Once you establish that, you go into 50% mode superiorly, and don't forget, since we're in free forming, you do this inferiorly also. But raise up that blue about 8 clicks or so to get a little clearance here for a tear pump. Do the same thing on the bottom. Then back in 100% quadrant control, try to pin that pink dot right around that corneal, that 20 micron line. And then lo and behold, you got a lens here that would probably give you a reasonably good fit. If we look at the back surface of this lens now, you'll notice that we've softened up that curve there. It's not so harsh or not so abrupt. So this lens is in theory less likely to cause as much molding on the cornea. And indeed, if you look at that lower left of the quad view compared to the lower right, which is your topography, you'll see I have a very similar appearance to that. So this lens is probably a little less likely to mold that cornea. On the other hand, again, if I go back to the original comment, if your lens is fitting well and not causing any physiological harm, you may not need to make a whole great change on that. If we look at the left lens, your topographies look pretty much the same. I don't see a whole lot of difference in there. But again, if you want to make a change in this one, this is a little bit more difficult to fit because that area of heavy area of steepening. But it sounds like you just want a little more apical clearance on this one. You're at about 26. As you know, the easiest way to do that is just click down on that blue dot, number of dot clicks to the desired effect, and that'll raise up your central area. So hopefully those little subtle tips will help you out. Again, if these lenses are providing reasonably good comfort and performance and not causing any physiological harm, then I would probably keep the changes to a minimum. But otherwise, I wish you well with this case, and have a great day. Thanks for contacting Wade.